see, our Messiah did prophesy about this religion of Christianity, and it's important that this is understood. Now, of course, he didn't say Christianity, but if you understand what he said, you will understand what I'm speaking of. So let me backtrack a bit. I have repeatedly said that Christianity is the biggest religion in the world. Let's review that. I want to begin with some foundational numbers just to illustrate that there is a problem, even if people may not want to recognize it. According to a chart done by Statista, using data from sources of Pew Research Center, the CIA, the World Bank, this survey is from data from 2 years ago in 2022. Of the approximate world population of about 8 billion people, 31% of the world are declared Christians, and almost 26% are declared Muslims. So of the 8 billion people in the world, approximately 2.5 billion of them are declared Christians. Christianity is the largest religious denomination in the world. Now, if we dig a bit further in the numbers, according to this chart on Wikipedia, now I don't claim that this is 100% accurate, being that it is Wikipedia, but I think it's close enough that I can use it. Of that 2.5 billion, it said that 50% are Roman Catholic, 36% are Protestant, 9.5% Eastern Orthodox, and 2.5% Oriental Orthodox. Now, I won't focus on Roman Catholic at this time or the Eastern and Oriental Orthodox. All those are different sides of the same coin. I will probably cover that later. What I want to deal with is the Protestant number. 900 million people in this world are declared Protestant Christians. Almost 9% of the world population is declared to be a Protestant Christian, believing that they are not tied to the doctrine of the Roman Catholic Church. That's a big number. Over 31% declare Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. I use the English name here because I believe that a large majority that use his real name, they're not even taking these surveys. But let's not get distracted by that. Over 31% of the world population declare Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. And 9% of the world population have split away from the Roman Church and declare that they are the true faith. And then when you dig even further, in the Protestant churches, the numbers get even more separated and divided because of the different denominations in the Protestant churches. There's Lutherans, Anglicans, Methodists, Presbyterians, Seventh-day Adventists, Baptists, etc. This is a lot of religion, a lot of beliefs and doctrines mixed into Christianity. But I want you to look and understand the problem, because with all this declared belief in Jesus, the world hasn't gotten more pure and righteous, but actually the complete opposite. With these kind of numbers and the power that Messiah truly has, the way this world is today, it should not be possible. And also think about it. Why would belief in Jesus be the largest faith in the world if this world is being led to a satanic agenda to worship Satan? And why would belief in Jesus be the largest faith in the world if Yahusha said that the world would hate him? Shouldn't Christianity be the smallest faith, even if you subtract the Catholic numbers? There is something wrong here. And if you're at least honest with yourself, you should be able to agree with that. So what is truly going on? As I have been alluding to, the fact and truth is that there has been editing of the overall truth in relation to our faith and the scriptures. And most people following Christianity are not aware of it because they are following religion and following man in their application of their faith. Our Messiah spoke and prophesied of this, some of the scariest verses in the Bible. Here's one. Not everyone who says to me, Adonai, Adonai, shall enter the kingdom of heaven, but he who does the will of my Father in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Adonai, Adonai, have we not prophesied in your name, cast out demons in your name, and done many wonders in your name? And then I will declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who practice lawlessness. That's Matthew chapter 7, verses 21 through 23. So I want you to think about what he prophesied. He said, not everyone who says Adonai, meaning my master, or what people like to use Lord for today, even though the word Lord means Baal in Hebrew, but I'm not even going that deep. He says, not everyone who says Jesus is Lord will enter the kingdom of heaven. I mean, Yahusha said many will say he is master and say that they prophesied in his name. They even casted out demons in his name and done many wonders in his name. But he will tell them to depart from him because he never knew them. Those who practice lawlessness and did not do the will of our Father in heaven. That's very deep and it's very scary. Yahusha also prophesied to enter by the narrow gate. For wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and there are many who go in by it. Because narrow is the gate and difficult is the way which leads to life, and there are few who find it. That's Matthew chapter 7, verses 13 and 14. So he also told us to enter by the narrow gate, but many will choose to go in the broad gate that leads to destruction, because narrow is difficult that leads to life, and there are few who find it. So there are some issues here clearly. First, there are many that will call him Master or Lord, but he never actually knew them. And there will be many that are trying to go to him, but they're trying to enter into a very broad gate that leads to destruction. And the problem is that those practicing Christianity as a whole are greatly a part of this because they are practicing religion and not practicing the actual faith. In the end, it will only be each of our individual faults if he rejects us, because while we were practicing religion, we never actually sought after him diligently enough with our hearts. I mean, we say we love him, but there were other things more important to us that we put in front of him. I mean, you know how many Christians know more about senseless gossip about celebrities, like all the stuff about Diddy? But if you ask them what the will of our Father is, they don't know. And this is the answer, by the way. And you shall love Yahuwah, your Elohim, with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. This is the first commandment, and the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these. Mark chapter 12, verses 30 and 31. But I really want you to look at what he prophesied and understand. He said, because narrow is the gate and difficult is the way which leads to life, and there are few who find it. And as I said, Christianity is the largest religion in the world. So that kind of contradicts what he is actually saying. His truth and those who accept it should actually be the smallest minority in the world. If you actually believe what he's actually saying and you're actually applying his words and not man-made doctrine. Just saying. Let's go to the main prophecy that Yahusha spoke about, and you will understand what it is I'm referring to. We'll go to this parable. Another parable he put forth to them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. But when the grain had sprouted and produced a crop, then the tares also appeared. So the servants of the owners came and said to him, Sir, did you not sow good seed in your field? How then does it have tares? He said to them, An enemy has done this. The servant said to him, Do you want us then to go and gather them up? But he said, No, lest while you gather up the tares, you also uproot the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. And at the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, First, gather together the tares and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. As Matthew chapter 13, verses 24 through 30. Let's keep going with it. Then Yahusha sent the multitude away and went into the house. And his disciples came to him, saying, Explain to us the parable of the tares of the field. He answered and said to them, He who sows the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seeds are the sons of the kingdom, but the tares are the sons of the wicked one. The enemy who sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are the angels. Therefore, as the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so it will be at the end of this age. The Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and those who practice lawlessness, and will cast them into the furnace of fire. There will be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. That's Matthew chapter 13, verses 36 to 43. This parable is truly remarkable and it's important. Understand, we are in the harvest right now. To understand this parable, it's important that you understand what tares are. You see, they are indistinguishable from wheat until the final fruit appears. That's what a tare is. We'll revisit that. What he's explaining in this parable is that all those who are following his word and living for our Father and his will, They are the sons and daughters of the kingdom. That's the seed that he planted. But the devil has planted the wicked in the same soil. Remember, the soil is the world. The devil is sowing his tares amongst us. If you look at the world from a top view down, we would be the wheat and the wicked are the tares. Someone asked him, shouldn't we just pluck the tares out now? But he said, when you do that, you can uproot the wheat too. You see, farmers will be trying to pull out the tares, but because they look like wheat, they would also pluck out the good wheat too. You see, we're all growing together, the righteous and the counterfeit. This isn't about those who are Satanists and working in the darkness. The tares are counterfeit, who look and act like believers, but in the end, when they grow, they don't produce righteous fruit. With all these doctrines, all these false traditions, all these believers who say they love him, but side with the world more than they ever care about him. They practice the traditions of men before they ever turn to the word of Elohim for justification. They deeply offend those who are just preaching righteousness and living according to the word. These are counterfeit. They look like wheat as they are growing, but in the end, they are not the same. Understand, when the angels come to gather the righteous, all those who offend and practice lawlessness will be cast into the fire. There will be wailing and gnashing of teeth, but the righteous will be good. So, if you're going to understand the history of this world, it's important to have better perspective of how you are learning about this world. In the past, if you have been under Christian doctrines, learning Christian history, most people that tell the story of the church today, they tell it in a way of power. They tell it in a way that shows what they feel is the power of Yahuwah. Basically, by their logic, because Christianity has been able to be spread all over the world over such a long period of time, it just shows the power of the church and the power of the gospel. That's the overall theme. But if you are now to review this overall perspective and understand that the people that have been telling you history, the people that we have been told about in our history books, these characters that have been given a lot of credibility throughout our history, and depending on who was telling the story, they were either heroes or villains. But overall, the story of how Christianity has been built up in the world is told in a way that gives people the point of view that it was put in place by the power of Yah in order to bring the world to the truth of the gospel. And this is the reason why Christianity is the dominant religion in this world. But if you change your way of viewing history and recognize that the history you're actually being told in terms of biblical truth is all actually reversed, and you are only hearing about the history of the satanic side, you are only hearing the side about the history of the tares. The history that you know is one that comes from the side of the weeds, the counterfeit. Then you realize that you have been lied to and fully indoctrinated in order to accept a satanically led and controlled world. All the history that is noted in this world and recognized in our history books is only told and it's only supported because it helps promote the satanic agenda of Satan being worshipped as the Most High. This is where the world is leading to. The doctrine of Christianity in this world has been told to us from a false perspective that we have been praising and rooting for tares, rooting for the counterfeit. From the time that Rome made Christianity the religion of Rome, they have been a weed that has been planted in the field by Satan. And over the years, the weed kept being spread in the field, which is the world. It branched out, yes, and there have been changes over the centuries, yes, but it is the same weed. When the Greek Orthodox split from Rome, they felt that they are different, but they're not. It's the same weed. When the Reformation happened and the Protestant church was built in Europe, there was a different name and different doctrines. They feel that they're different, but they're not. The root was the same weed. When it gets to England, it's a different name, different doctrines. Yes, but it's still the same weed. When it gets to the Americas, and then the missionaries want to take their doctrines and spread it around the world, it's a different name, but the same weed. It's all counterfeit. It all comes from Rome, which is the root from the tares that Satan has planted. And this is how history has been told to us. We just don't recognize it. So as we hear the history of the world, we want to hear about it as the history of how the church was spread. But it's actually the history of how satanic doctrine that will be used to make the world believe Satan is the Most High. It's how this doctrine was able to be spread and believed. We are learning history from the wrong perspective, and because we are learning from our enemies who have pledged allegiance to Satan, we are learning to love our enemy and reject our heroes. We seek to be controlled. We seek to be under their influence. And so because we are indoctrinated, we keep learning and learning. but is never the truth. We keep attaching ourselves to falsehoods, but never come to the truth, because we have committed ourselves to a system that intends to draw us into worship of Satan. We don't know we have done this, but this is the world that we live in. This is the Matrix. And this video series has been made to wake you up out of it, but it has to be in depth, and that's why I'm taking it slow and methodically. The main point that I'm making here is that Christianity is a religion of tares. This is what Yahusha was prophesying about. Please know, I know that I have not concretely proved it in this video, but it's important for me to lay down this foundational understanding so that it can be understood. And as we go through this series, all my points will be proving exactly this main conclusion.